Brodes Media.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Before we dive into the loss, unfortunately, the Eagles got their asses kicked. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the like button as well. I greatly appreciate it. I love you all so much. On Twitter, @Brodes81. That's my personal account. And then BrodesMedia.com. We've implemented a lot more writing content to the website. We've been blogging a lot more. So check out BrodesMedia.com, all the blogs. And with that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Well, the Eagles get annihilated by the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's not really that surprising, right? We need to remember what our expectations were heading into this game, and we all basically thought there's no way. They will get crushed. How will they hang? Maybe, just maybe because the Chiefs' defense was so poor, you could somewhat score some points and make this thing interesting, and that did happen to some degree. Unfortunately, they shot themselves in the foot. A lot of penalties for the fourth straight week, so we know that's part of their identity. No accountability, even though Nick Sirianni's core values has accountability in the mix. I'm watching Derek Barnett get another call, and don't tell me it's just a bad call. He couldn't have done anything. No, right? I mean, there's a correlation between him always being the guy, his number always getting called, himself always getting flags, and us even having this discussion to begin with, and that call today. So don't tell me it wasn't his fault. There's really nothing he could have done. Yes, there could have been. Not going low on Pat Mahomes. I've heard so much, nonsense throughout this game because there's a lot of dissection that can happen. There's a lot of pooling that you can do, right? You can pull so much data out of this. You can dissect so many different red zone opportunities, so many different drives. But here's what I'll say from more of the broad approach here. By the way, you got a little fortunate because Clark not in the game. You're thinking, okay, this defense stinks as it is. Now there's no Clark. Now there's some missing pieces. Could that help out? And I think it did. The Eagles did a good job at moving the ball, especially when you hear the news that Lane Johnson is unavailable due to personal reasons. One, I hope everything is okay on that front. Let's be realistic. Lane Johnson is a warrior. He's a dog for this franchise. If he's going to skip a game due to personal reasons, I don't want to say skip a game and make it seem like it. Regardless, my point is pretty simple here. For him to miss a game for personal reasons, it's probably something really, really scary. So I hope everything's okay from that front. With this offensive line, Lane Johnson, not there. So Andre Dillard, Landon Dickerson flip-flopping sides at guard, Jason Kelsey, Nate Herbig, and Jack Driscoll as your offensive line. While Andre Dillard had some bad penalties in there, some of them were actually wiped off and wiped clean due to the Chiefs making mental mistakes. And they had their fair share of problems, right? You could see that this is not the same detailed, perfectly structured Chiefs squad. Whether it's a late hit on Jalen Hurts running out of bounds, whether it's Baker dropping an interception, whether it's Pat Mahomes throwing an interception over the middle of the field, there were definitely some issues. Look, in the second quarter, the Chiefs had a fantastic drive to put them back on top, but it started with an illegal formation and a delay of game, and then on 3rd and 12, Pat Mahomes ran it down the left side of the field for a first down, tiptoeing by the sidelines. That was damaging. Hill gets a circus catch down the right sideline, does a front flip, does a back flip, whatever the hell it was, ran over the referee. The zebra goes down. But then Hill gets a touchdown on 3rd and goal afterwards. It was a very solid drive by the Chiefs once they stopped shooting themselves in the foot. But this Chiefs team, you can see their flaws. You can see their issues. You can see why they've had hiccups early here in September. Their defense is not good. So I want to go back to the broad approach of this offense. Over the last 2 games, Nick Sirianni did not make any sense. His game plan sucked. Entering the week, it was a disaster, and it made no sense starting with the practice and the scheme and the identity of what you were trying to force your offense to do. Today, it made sense. I have to give him credit. With the with the offensive line that is not perfectly constructed. The fact that I can date it back to Jalen Hurts missing Zach Ertz, Jalen Hurts missing Greg Ward with a throw that needs to be better. Did Greg Ward have both hands on it? No doubt about it. Does that need to be a better throw? Absolutely 1,000%. All the mistakes. Josh Sweat, 3rd and 6. Oh, here comes a penalty. Jumped way too early. Now it's 3rd and 1. The Chiefs continue their drive. They execute. 1st down. Move the ball. Score points. Hurt you. Crucial drive late. Maybe there'd be some sort of momentum if it's 3rd and 6 and you get a stop and the fans at the link were going bonkers. And by the way, I was a little disappointed with the fans today. I thought the boos and the aggressiveness, what did you really expect? You know, like, what did you really expect? I have issues, but the boos, they weren't the logical reasons for booing of understanding that they have issues, and yeah, it's going to be ugly. I just thought it got to a level of like, really, it's kind of embarrassing. I had some secondhand embarrassment because it's like clear what's going on here. You can be disappointed, you could be upset a bit, but the fans at the time, and look, I was going to say 3rd down, but I meant the red zone situations. Yeah, Nick Sirianni has some issues calling the game in the red zone, and I can understand voicing your frustration. I just think it sounded a little stupid at times throughout the broadcast, but I digress. Tempo. Let's go. Tempo. Getting the ball out quickly. There's a reason why Jalen Hurts had an obnoxious amount of yards. There's a reason why his completion percentage at one point was beautiful. You're getting it underneath. Devontae Smith, that first drive, I loved what I saw. And yeah, it's hysterical once again that I'm going to bring up J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who had the pass interference call offensively to bring back a Zach Ertz touchdown. And you can complain. Was that Zach Ertz or was that Dallas Goedert? That one was the touchdown to Zach Ertz, yeah. And you want to say that it wasn't a right call, it wasn't a good call, it shouldn't have been called. I'll say this, Gainwell fumbled the football right at the goal line earlier in the game for that amazing Dallas Goedert catch where he kept his hands on the ball. I don't know how he had his hands that hard on the ball. The strength on that ball was outstanding, but that should have been a play. That was the Chiefs football. That was a fumble. And I keep hearing this argument all over Twitter. Well, bro, it's not even the same because Andy Reid could have challenged the play and he didn't. That was a mistake on him. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He should have. They should have got to that. It was clear as day. It was simple. It wasn't even a debate. It was absolutely 1,000% the Chiefs' ball, but it's irrelevant if you could challenge the play or not. What we're trying to bring up here is if the referee missed a call, like they missed major calls here. These are major calls that they missed. It's irrelevant if you can challenge it or not. Just about the fact that the refs missed a big, huge momentum switch type of call in both directions. If you feel that aggressive about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and the extension of the arm. I feel I'm more in the outlier watching it. He extended the hell out of the arm. I don't love it. I'm not stoked about it. But I could understand why it was there. He extended the arm. Created the separation. You can talk about the yardage from the line of scrimmage. I'm just telling you what I saw. This team got the ball out. Devontae Smith early on. First drive. Going upfield. Getting the ball to Quez Watkins. Getting the ball to Gainwell. Getting your ball into the hands of your playmakers. Let them work in space. Throw it short, underneath. And they were consistently getting to the red zone. The problem is, though, when Nick Sirianni has to think on his feet, he gets into a lot of trouble. I mentioned that first drive, right? Here's the issue, though. Here's the problem I have with that. During the first drive, you get it down to the 4th and 3. Ugly. Use of timeout. Nobody's on the same page. Looking like a delay of game possibility. You call timeout and then you kick the field goal. Save the timeout if you're going to kick the field goal anyway. And then you kick for the points. If you call timeout and then go for it, I can at least get behind that. But you're kicking a field goal for points. It was very lost in that moment. Nick Sirianni, in the moment when the pressure is on, has not been strong. The game speeds up on him, and he can't control the pace. That is a problem I saw in Dallas last week, where it just snowballed out of control, and then it happened again in that first series. And I saw it happen throughout the game just in general. There was the other red zone opportunity where they scored, then Dillard was illegally downfield. That would have been Goddard's second. Greg Ward misses the touchdown. He was stretched out. 4th and goal. Going for the field goal. Instead of maybe going for points there. The score was 14-10 at the time. Chiefs, they made it 14-13. You're going to kick field goals all day against the Chiefs. Now, it doesn't help that you had so many touchdowns pulled back because of penalties. Devontae Smith, who had over 100 yards, he was making some plays out there, but he scored a touchdown. He was out of bounds before, and we just saw that happen a few weeks back with Jalen Reagor. And we were told that Nick Sirianni was very active with these receivers and teaching them up about the fundamentals. And yes, mistakes are going to occur, but that's a strong suit we were told about Nick Sirianni. And now these two guys are stepping out of bounds. You want to talk about hand play and being forced out of bounds by the corners? That's what they're taught to do. So you need to know how to counter that. You need to be taught how to counter that. You got to be smarter as a football player. The team is not smart, and I think that's where my frustration comes in at. Well, I can agree that I did not mind the game plan. If only they executed a little bit more. And you want to yell about the offensive line being a disaster because of certain players on there or whatever. Based off the offensive line, sure, there were issues, no doubt. You'd be a moron to think that there wouldn't be. But ultimately, during the game, you had a lot of chances to score, and you flat out did it. You had plenty of chances to execute, and you shot yourself in the foot with or without that offensive line. Getting into the red zone. The defense, though, sucks. The defense blows. And I tried explaining to you, Jim Schwartz is not a bad defensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz is actually a good defensive coordinator. Well, Brodes, what do you want him to do when Brandon Graham is out? Brandon Graham is a crucial piece to this defensive line, to the run game, and the amount of snaps he eats, the percentage of snaps that he eats. It's clearly a crucial loss. I've watched Jim Schwartz over the years with people who work at Foot Locker basically play better than this. And here's some statistics for you. There were no punts, by the way. The Eagles allowed 40-plus points in 86 games under Jim Schwartz. The Eagles have allowed 40-plus points twice in 4 games under Jonathan Gannon. I'm not telling you that this defense is special and this defense has unbelievable talent. The linebacking core consistently becomes a problem. Stop trying to justify Alex Singleton, Eric Wilson. Oh, look at the tackles. Yeah, you make a tackle after you make a mistake. It comes up on the box score as a damn tackle. They're not. I think that Brooks said it perfectly best on Eagles Post Game Live after the game. You know, it's more about, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but, you know, it's more about reacting instead of getting to that moment earlier. You're reacting to what they're doing instead of somewhat getting in there and stopping it before it happens. Don't allow the bleeding to occur. Let's get in there and stop the play instead of the reacting part. They're not quick on their feet. They're not reacting to it quick enough to stop the damage from even happening. Now, I started this before Nick Sirianni spoke. So I want to go and take a look here at some of the things he said. That's one of the best quarterback performances I've seen. Nick Sirianni on Jalen Hurts. He says that's the best Hurts has looked in the game or in practice. I didn't have a problem with Jalen Hurts. There were mistakes that he left out there for sure. I would love to see this team utilize Jalen Hurts and his legs more. There were a few times with the option, were they going with Miles Sanders? No, here's Jalen Hurts making a big gain or getting a nice solid run in there. And sometimes it would be makeshift and he's doing it on the fly. But ultimately, you know, the fact that he has legs, use that as a weapon. But when you give Miles Sanders only a certain amount of carries, well, I think you end up seeing the problem. It's less impactful. You don't run him enough. You don't use the run game enough. And Kenneth Gainwell getting all these receptions. Is there something that Nick Sirianni sees, something that Steichen sees and moves forward with Gainwell more with the way that maybe they like him? I don't know. But Miles Sanders is someone that can make explosive plays happen on the field, and he's so limited in touches now. And this is not the first regime to do it. Maybe you had 2 bad offensive guys that had no idea and had no vision here with Miles Sanders. But I just find that so damn hard to believe. Is there something else happening that we are unaware of? Because, you know, this is kind of crazy. So Nick Sirianni, you're upset. You're furious that you go 1-3. We can also see some things to build on. The self-inflicted wounds have to stop. Well, yeah, I'm agreeing with you there, Nick. No doubt about it. But that's part of your culture that you're trying to build. You came up with this. Well, I mean, it's not really you came up with it. You go to Football for Dummies, Football 101, and it would probably lay out a similar concept here. But accountability. Well, if it's constantly people shooting themselves in the foot, like, what are you going to do about it? Do you consistently allow it to happen over and over and over again? Or is Derek Barnett out of here? Is he done? I don't care that he needs to play snaps because of Brandon Graham. I'd rather go down with the fight with somebody else who's more willing to buy in, might not be as skilled, but more willing to buy into the team, the moment, the idea, the concept. That's part of this season's plan here, is to get people to buy into you, Nick Sirianni. And, the first handful of games here has been an absolute disaster on that front. Let's see if there's any more Nick Sirianni quotes that are getting thrown out of there. Talking about quarterback performance still. Nick Sirianni said he found out a few hours before the game that Lane Johnson wouldn't be available, not discussing the situation. We'll probably get more info that we're looking for tomorrow, obviously, after the game, the post-game, the day after press conference. But nothing really sticks out to me. Just praising the young quarterback. Nothing that crazy from Sirianni post-game. But, yeah, it's frustrating because of the way that they're getting in these uncomfortable positions, or when they are in their position to succeed because of themselves, because of the problems that they do individually, personally to the team. It's setting themselves back into this uncomfortable spot. For example, and I know that they scored on this touchdown. They did score on it, but after Eric Wilson gets the interception, you start the next drive off with Zach Ertz getting a false start. And it ended up being a nice drive. I'm not discrediting that, but ultimately, what are you going to do when you're constantly getting 5-yard penalties, 10-yard penalties? You can't win football games that way. So it's a tough spot because at least the ball was being moved. Did you expect the ball to be moved, though, based off of the opposition? Are you not surprised? Is this something that you say, okay, well, I expected this to happen? This isn't shocking, so I'm not going to give them credit. This is what they should do against a struggling team. I guess what I'm saying is I'm trying to learn about Nick Sirianni, and he went right into Dallas's game plan last week. And then against the 49ers, he did not make sense either from that front. Should I be this happy, though, right? Like, at what point should I just demand my NFL head coach to do film study and recognize that up-tempo here and quick throws due to a offensive line that has not had time to play together and just got thrown together with a bunch of backups, Jason Kelce and the backups, Jason Kelce and the crew? Well, what did you expect? Get the ball out quick. Get it to Quez. Get it to Devontae. Get it to Gainwell. Utilize those weapons. Get the tight ends involved. Quick, 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 quick. Shouldn't we expect that instead of praising the head coach? The bar was so low over the last handful of weeks that we're going too outrageous with it and too positive with it. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just throwing ideas at the wall to see what sticks, because I do feel, to a degree, I don't want to baby him and give him golf claps for things that should happen easily without even thinking about it. That should happen in the NFL if you're a head coach. I did like what I saw from Jalen Hurts, though, just looking at the quarterback. But, there's golden opportunities. Jalen Hurts to Zach Ertz touchdown, big difference than field goal. Jalen Hurts throwing it to Greg Ward for a touchdown there. It's crucial. But it doesn't matter, I guess, when your defense is getting shelled the way that it is. Jonathan Gannon looks lost. He looks like he has no idea what he's doing. The coverage is way too damn soft. It's clear as day that the opposition is finding things offensively and bang. You sit in the zone, and fine, I understand you try and disguise the zone and get creative in that front. But Pat Mahomes is going to find Tyreek Hill. And it doesn't help that Anthony Harris early on, when Tyreek Hill gets to the 1-yard line or so before he gets out of bounds, poor angling. Tyreek Hill for the last touchdown. What the hell happened there? So I'm not mad that they lost. I thought it was pretty clear that was going to happen before things even went down. The Chiefs are a way better football team than what we're watching in Philadelphia. The roster is not extremely good, but I just wonder what would happen without the penalties. That's all. Like, let's say you clean up the penalties. You still have the same talent. You're making the same plays, but instead of 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15, you're just playing standard here. And penalties are going to occur. Nobody's perfect out there, but limit those. We're talking a disastrous amount. Let's see how it goes if you just play the same exact way without the penalties. These players are smarter than that. They are, except for Derek Barnett. Josh Sweat is smarter than that. There was a delay of game thrown in there, didn't get the snap off. The 4th and 3. That's stuff that can be cleaned up, and it has to be. But you got to stress it the right way. You got to emphasize it the right way to clean it up. You got to do something different, because whatever you've said over the 4 weeks to try and change that, guess what? It's not changing whatsoever. All right, before we continue here, I want to tell you about my friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Let me tell you about DraftKings. You want to make money? Easy. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has a Week 5 offer every football fan should jump on. New customers can bet just $1 in any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. The last 0-0 tie in the NFL was in 1943, so I'd say this is a no-brainer. DraftKings customers can also get skin in the game with the new same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes. Bet just $1 in any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code Brodes this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. How about the end of the first half? That thing was bonkers, huh? Jalen Hurts, Snead gets a fumble, a forced fumble. The ball goes flying. It hits off the ref. Lyman can't pick it up. Nate Herbig jumps on the football. That could have easily been a field goal. If not, actually picking it up, scooping it up, and scoring. The fact that it got to the ground there, if the Chiefs recovered, you're talking possible 3 points. And we know how important those halftime changes are. That momentum switch right before the half, that is implemented, or, the outcome has impacted the game so much. You can always keep dialing back here the first 3 weeks for the Birds of what happened before half, and there's been a clear distinction here, a clear difference, and who's come out victorious. So, it's weird, because while we recognize the roster has its issues, they hung in there against the Chiefs team for the most part. You saw some back-breaking drives, so you thought, and then the Eagles responded. For example here, if we go to that third quarter, end of the third quarter, the Chiefs have the lead 21-16 after a field goal by the Eagles. Chiefs cruise downfield. It's now a 12-point game. It's 28-16. This was the end of the third quarter. Jalen Reagor returns the football 44 yards. Hurts gets hit late, but there was also an eligible downfield by Andre Dillard, which kind of brought things back. First and goal, sacked. Second and goal, Gainwell gets inside the 10-yard line. Third and goal, Gainwell gets a touchdown up the middle. But you watch the Chiefs cruise downfield. It's a 12-point game. Bang, the Eagles responded. So there was some back-breaking, so it seemed, touchdown, and then the Eagles would get right back in there. So there's something to this. And nobody's saying that this team should win a ton of football games. That was never what it was about. It was about how it looked, the demeanor of the team. And this is not a good look for this football team. I don't want to go too overboard here on the positives with Nick and take it out of proportion where we give him too much credit. This is what it should be like, but we shouldn't be this happy about it. We're happy about it because the last 2 games, it looked like the offense of Doug Peterson, so we got wide-eyed again. Well, okay, at least okay, yeah, you're right. Like, to a broad sense, yes. But to an acceptable level, no. The execution has to be dialed in more. The focus has to be dialed in more. Crisp, detailed, structured. On the same page, fundamentals. With a young skill player group, with a young quarterback, with a young head coach, we all understood that there would be some ugliness involved. I'm not mad. I'm not even giving you the fatherly thing, the whole I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, because I don't even know if disappointed is the right word either. I guess I'm just baffled by how undisciplined they are, based off of the way Nick Sirianni expressed all the fundamentals and the focus on the little things and what we saw early in the Falcons game. Bang, 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 crisp. And this isn't because the opposition. It's not because the other team. This is just because they're doing it to themselves, except for, once again, defensively. Because this is unacceptable behavior. You cannot get shelled. Teams are figuring out Jonathan Gannon way too easily, moving downfield way too easily. There has to be a counter. There has to be a change. Issues, health-wise, for sure. Rodney McLeod back, and then he wasn't back. So you're missing players. Kayvon Wallace got injured last game, right? And then you think about Marcus Sabbs. And, it's not as if you're utilizing the players that you want to, but sometimes you are too, and there's no response. There's no pulse on that end. No punts? Yeah, Tyreek Hill's going to get open. Pat Mahomes will make plays. This is not, though, a game where we just are enamored by the greatness and the eliteness of Pat Mahomes. There was a lot of this as well where you just straight up didn't have the answers. And you should have had the answers. Got to be quicker on your feet. I'm not a fan of where we are right now with Sirianni and Gannon. I guess, I'll be honest with you, even though today went the way it did, I'm still upset with Sirianni. I'm not in a pleasant spot with Nick. Even though the offense moved today and the game plan made sense. He's not a child. He's not a baby. He's not an intern. He should understand a game plan. He should be able to put one together against a Chiefs team that squads are figuring it out. And he did that. I'm still underwhelmed with him at this point because of the way the team looks. I needed the team to look better than what they are. Not great, not elite. Hell, not even good at times. Average at times would still be okay. But it's the way they're going about it that's really eating me alive and making me feel uncomfortable internally. Just a few more things before we head out of here, though. Do you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? You need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year. Their model covers everything from spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. There's sharp data so you can see who the pros are backing. Line movement so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. Plus, you can save all your picks in one place to track your success. And winning streaks as well as view your rank on the leaderboards. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download BetQL. Enter the discount code Brodes at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. You can find this information in the description down below. So Devontae Smith, he balled out. You could see right before half, before that whole bonkers play happened with the fumble and all, he made some really strong catches. There was that beautiful throw by Jalen Hurts as well down the right sideline. And then the other one was a little bit in front of him, but he did a stellar job of reaching out and bringing it in before he went out of bounds. And, that's the difference, though, when you're throwing to Greg Ward, when you're throwing to Devontae Smith, you need to know, while, yes, Greg Ward had both of his hands on the football, you need to know your position players. You need to know what type of skill player you're throwing to. There's a difference in Devontae Smith. There's a difference in Greg Ward. Devontae Smith just shows you how dynamic he is. Were there times still, once again, where you see the size difference? Yeah, and absolutely. He's not going to gain that size within 1 week. Brodes, what are you demanding him to get that much bigger since the last time you said something against Dallas? Absolutely not. I'm just pointing out his growth and his timeline, his trajectory. As we study him, as we watch him each week, it does seem noticeable that times, he's a little tiny out there, but he can fly. He's dynamic. You saw his route running on display, coming back to the football, getting separation, sitting in a certain part of the field where Jalen Hurts can deliver the football perfectly, and then, he can go upfield as much as possible before getting tackled. So, you saw a lot of things out of him, and I know I mentioned Gainwell, but damn, this dude could play. This dude can play. He can play. He's no joke. His ability to make plays with his feet after catching the ball, it's fantastic. So, just looking at some of the quarters and some of the drives that stood out to me. The Hurts to Goddard touchdown, there was a Dillard hold earlier. It was 4th and 2 on the 20-yard line, and Gainwell, big first down. There was some pressure brought to Jalen Hurts. He stood there as long as he needed to, brought it over to Gainwell. Bang, he got a nice gain there. 4 plays, 4 first downs. The pace of the line of scrimmage was moving. The pace of the offense definitely had a rhythm to it. Playmakers underneath, get the ball in their hands, let them do the work. I just think that's the philosophy of this team. When Nick Sirianni is asked, what is the identity of this team? Instead of giving you nonsense and naming 7,000 different parts to the game, which makes no sense because then you would have a perfect dynamic to you, and you don't. The identity of this team is spread the ball around, find the tight ends, have them in the mix, use your run game a little bit more so Jalen Hurts can be utilized as a weapon with his legs too. There would be more bites on it because, well, you got to look at both of these two. They can both absolutely make plays happen with their legs. But get Quez Watkins in space, get Jalen Reagor in space, get Devontae Smith in space, get Gainwell in space, get them the ball in space. You saw how effective it was. You saw how efficient it was. The problem is red zone too, though. There needs to be a deep study, a deep dive in how do we analyze this red zone and what can we do to put ourselves in better position. Maybe it's run the damn ball. I saw a couple quarterback sneaks. I wanted to implement Jalen Hurts under center more, just a good old-fashioned run game. And when they did score in the red zone, here's Kenneth Gainwell right up the middle. Bang, hard nose, boom, gets through there and scores, then punches it in. More run game in the red zone. Use Jalen Hurts' legs in the red zone. They did try once with Miles Sanders. He got bounced to the outside there. But, you just got to be sharper there. That's the difference. You don't win kicking field goals against Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. Just doesn't happen at all. And with that being said, I guess we're going to end it here. We'll react. If you did not leave a phone call on the Anytime Hotline, 856-442-9805 is the phone number. Tomorrow, along with the Nick Sirianni press conference notes, we'll get your reaction to the game and what you saw. We'll react to that. I'm really looking forward to it. This is sort of, just the instant reaction. So I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out, and I will see you next.